Hey, it's Within Amnesia here. I did a video last night of basically me talking about just the stuff related to Baldur's Gate. But I had the fan on and made all these wind noises in the background. I didn't like it. It was like an hour long, so and I was it was 4 in the morning. I was super tired and just yeah, I made it because I didn't want to type and stuff because I usually type all weird at 4 in the morning. So yeah, I thought the idea of the video was pretty good, like a big giant video just talking about Baldur's Gate stuff. Because I really like Baldur's Gate. And, like this forum is like really special because it's actually intelligent, well thought out, and well mannered. Unlike World of Tanks and World of Warcraft, all these other like really drogulated um, games that just don't really go for quality. They kind of, they have the greedy staff on there, kind of more or less, and they just go for money and all. It's just Baldur's Gate. Beam Dogs is like a pretty good. What is this? I don't know. Oh, is it Beam Dogs? Pretty good. There's some things they kind of dropped the ball on when they released Baldur's Gate 1 Enhanced Edition. Like they had Baldur's Gate 2 items and stuff, and I almost wish they did Baldur's Gate 2 first. I know I'm probably getting crucified for saying that, but I think for me, Baldur's Gate 1 is better than Baldur's Gate 2 because Baldur's Gate 1 was kind of open. You had to make your own adventure. You didn't have to follow the story. You could take it and leave it whenever you wanted. You could be like level up your character, then just do the first part of the game. The Nash Kill Mines. You kill everything, but you could do that. It was like a open sandbox. You could go out and just have fun. You can make your own adventure. It was a lot more immersive, and I like to go around, exploring and stuff. It was a lot better, and items had a lot more depth and stuff too. You found something that was +1, by God, you find something that was +2. Oh, it was the best item. But it was like, wow, this item's amazing. It was a magical item, like Lord of the Rings. When they find magical stuff, it's like, whoa. This is Orc Hammer, Orc Wrist, whatever. That's the one. It was like, oh, there's legends and stories tell of this sword killed this goblin king in Afghanistan or whatever, right? And it felt like the portion of magical items, this big swath of just, uh, you know, fantasy that was like a kind of low, kind of not super magical fantasy at certain times. It was like almost like it felt like real life where there's this like golden ratio of the 80-20 where there's not all the really cool things are much more rare than all the average mundane stuff. That makes it when you find these really rare, cool, neat things of desire that are powerful and have meaning and have a lot of utility, that and also a status symbol, and they're cool and beautiful, that like they feel much more rewarding and much more of a treasure than like when you go to find like a longsword +4 on a mercenary. And it's just I know the game kind of had to do that in ways to like Baldur's Gate 2, that is, when they had like all these magical items and stuff. It just felt kind of like a cop out. Like it just didn't feel very special and magical. Like it could have been done in a way that you're fighting like super elite people, like but it didn't really feel like that. It felt kind of like, here's this ragtag group of mercenaries, all level 15, and like you know, you had to do like so much stuff to level 15. There's like, here's some hired arms at level 15. So it didn't feel epic fighting those guys. Like, could you imagine Lord of the Rings if like there was an army of Gandalfs? How lame would that be? You know? And it was like, oh yeah, we got all these storied adventures, and there's that human guy, that ranger guy, that turns into the king. It's like, I'm so powerful. I had to go through all these journeys and the character progression stuff, and then you turn around like a corner to the next kingdom, there's like a million of those guys. And like, wow, how do you? We just got strong to advance the plot. It's like, oh, that's kind of sad. Oh, it doesn't quite feel. It doesn't feel like has a magical hidden boundary of like, or a tether rather, of like real life. As weird as that is, like say in a fantasy world where everything's like magical, mystical, and stuff, but it feels a lot more in depth, relatable, and immersive. And enjoyable, I think, when it has tethers of reality, which you can use your real world thinking, which you have every single day of your life, that you're kind of stuck here to use. Not stuck here, but you have them every day, and that celebrates that kind of logic, that depth of beauty of movement that is life, that evolves and change in certain ways that that are kind of not predefined, but they have kind of like a hidden rules like nature, right? You don't get these, for example, animals that don't work in nature, they die and they don't live, right? As for example, you don't get a bunch of uh, incompetent people who start from nothing to all of a sudden be like super amazing, unless they're in the entertainment industry. But like, you don't. There's like usually like a certain hidden orchestra of architecture that's everything's pieced together with. There's like this awesome pattern that's found everywhere. It's like the 80-20 ratio, pretty much. It's like for you take 100 people and 20% of them are somewhat leaders or somewhat people who go towards, to get things done for certain insert topic here, right? And it's like, yeah, these, for example, this picture here, right? And all these guys are super amazing, right? And it'll make some leaders pop out of there, right? And there's some people in that where's that tent over there somewhere, the big leader guys and stuff. There's always like drones and stuff. It's like this is like based off of real life, but altered and changed to be like something new and something its own thing. Like it's just cool. Like, wow, this is cool. Like this hobgoblin guy with an axe and stuff. Like, oh, this is its own world. So I want to go and experience that, right? But it's kind of, I feel personally it's hampered. This is Baldur's Gate 2 when you go into like a fantasy world and it's just like everything is amazing. It's like when you have too much sugar in your hot chocolate, too much meat on the pizza, too much air freshener in the room, too much flowers in the garden, too many pets in the house, you know, too many chefs in the kitchen. It ruins a certain underlying golden ratio that's the 80-20, where you have to have like 80% really mundane stuff and 20% really neat stuff. And for example, like 80%, it goes for difficulty too. When things are like, Baldur's Gate was kind of like around like that big swath of, like, there's certain little pockets of really hard content, but usually you can go to an area and there's there's usually like kobolds or something, or you can encounter these bad guys, you can run away, go to another map or whatever, right? You can go basically pretty much anywhere, and you'll organically level up and change and stuff, and you'll go back to areas that you didn't feel you could do, or if you're really badass, you could take it on. Because if you're really skilled, it rewards skilled play, and you can take on people with a lot of creativity. Because it's a strategy game, and I like that a lot, unlike some other games. But yeah, it's just, this is a really boring screen. Let's go look at my discussions here. I was on this island. It was with my sister and brother, my mother, whatever, right? And my sister bought this house, and I was this big nerd, and basically moved away from all my friends, and I just sat and just did a job I didn't really like, and it was just, the house is stressful, people always fighting, and I just always on the computer. I met some people in DeviantArt who turned out to be really awesome, who two of them are really into tank stuff, and we're on this like tank blog and stuff. We make like really good. It's the Armored Patrol. He's a Romanian guy who made it and ran it before. I knew him before. There's also this French guy. He was turning out to be a really good tank modeler. Anyway, I like tanks. I like tanks. That's what I'm doing right now. But I'm going around, and I'm just going to, I just look around just, every now and then. I look. I don't quite create too much stuff because I'm all in my tank mindset. I think it's kind of waning though. I've been doing tanks for a little bit, so I'm probably gonna change something else. Probably this month, I would say. I'm like the wind. I'm more fluid than water. I'm like wind. I can't stay in one area. I just have to go. Like, I don't know. It's just how I am. I just can't like. There's this project. Where is this one? This what I'm gonna click on a link here that basically inspired these whole videos. It was where is it? It was something. What would you like in a mod? What would you like in a mod? Here we go. And there's also another one that's I usually think about a lot. It's yeah, usually I'm just like dreamed out something more. It's just thinking off topic. It's this NPC one. What's it called? It's basically working with this Polish guy, and it's Dark Side of the Sword Coast NPCs. And I just go bananas on them, and I try to make them really good because I love Baldur's Gate. This one, I think. Yeah, this is the one. Okay, right at the top. Right at the top. Okay, so my first point was, oh, what was it? This guy was saying, yeah, here we go. Not sure if I still check this thread. I do. I do. And it really got me thinking, not got me thinking, but it made me remember that some people don't. They just kind of give up and go and change, and there's these people left, and they're like, oh, what happened? Where'd they go? I've been to all these like Baldur's Gate sites. For example, there's this guy who did this really good mod. It was, what's this, the Grey Clan, I think it's called. The first episode was in Candlelight. My favorite Baldur's Gate mod, it was subtle, added a lot of really well balanced content to the game with few bugs, immersive, believable characters, and a lot of like secret stuff that you could, like, for example, there's this plot NPC who was of the Flaming Fist, and you could kill him and take his armor, and he wasn't just generic. It was like this. It was this armor that only he could wear, and it was like, really powerful. You could read it, but you couldn't actually wear it. And it was, you know, it was. I liked it. It was. I like, and I don't spoil how it went, but it expanded upon the friendly armor man. He had like fight there and stuff, and it was like actually kind of made a little bit of sense, and went to like it delved into some of the lore of the area. For example, there's this gnome in Defend the Arm Inn who's actually like a supreme badass adventurer, retired, and I actually went to them and it was like talking about that and stuff, and how it was actually like a portal or something like that. I liked it a lot. It was subtle, it was good, it was well thought out, it was high quality. I loved it. But I went to the guy's website and I guess he moved on. It really made me sad. Uh, I don't want to be like that. I don't want to be just love something, make something, and just forget about it. I may be lazy every now and then. I can do a whole bunch of stuff, but I don't want to give up on things. I've seen, like, for example, it makes me really sad when I start drawing something and back in the day, I just give up on it. Like I just I'd always finish my drawings, except for this one dragon drawing that was drawn for this person, and I just stopped being friends with them, and the dragon drawing was never complete. It was one of my only drawings I didn't complete. Actually, kind of poetic now I think about it. Was it? Yeah. So I always gotta complete things. I guess always in life I was like that. It's like I usually find myself in some type of broken area or some relations fall apart, and it's like I gotta piece together these things or make some type of peace in this big chaos. Usually that's my life, and find some type of semblance of order and make dysfunction into function. So I'm really good at that. I'm a problem solver. And I like to complete things and make things. And I kind of have this big ultimatum. Basically, it's like I'm gonna make a Baldur's Gate mod. I was gonna work on this game. It's my favorite game. I learned how to read on this game. I couldn't read when I was in grade 5. I just had this broken family pretty much, and went to my grandparents, and then my sister, while I was there, showed me Baldur's Gate. I didn't know how to read, so it was just the funniest thing ever, because I'd just go around and just he's a cool guy. This guy Swit. I think he's Polish. I don't know. He's cool. Cool guy. Cool guy. That Swit. Anyway, where's that big nerd Bengashi, whatever his name is? The big he had ninja portrait, or whatever. He's cool too. He's a super nerd. Yeah, it was. What was I talking? Yeah, Baldur's Gate. I didn't know how to read when I was in grade 5. I was a broken family, all depressed and sad. And I just go to school and I go like just fighting everybody, and it was bad. It was just, and then so I went to grandparents, and it's either that or foster care. And I didn't want to go foster care again. I was like 10 years old, and half my life was in foster care. It was bullcrap. Bad parents. Bad parents. Good intentions, shitty parenting. That's how it went. Well, is it? Yeah. So it was. Yeah. So I just basically learned. I was 9 years old when I started playing this game. I didn't know how to read English, but I liked it. Liked how to. I figured out the bows are the best. Swords sucked. I figured what armor class was when I went back to after I spent a year with my grandparents. Went back to my elementary school that I moved away from. After I was in the computer lab, and people were telling me about RuneScape. I saw people play it before, I think, but I didn't play it. But I got this account, and I was before that I was talking like, okay, what's this RuneScape like? Do you have +1 swords and bastard swords and armor class? And everyone's like, what? What are you talking about? No, it doesn't work like that. And I was like, oh, yeah, never mind. And yeah, I was like top down and stuff. I'm like, oh, this is like a Baldur's Gate, but different. I like that game. It was a good, solid. RuneScape is, they got like the what do they call, people behind RuneScape got voted the best company to work for or something. EA was the worst or something. I don't know, but it was EA. RuneScape is a really underrated game. It just doesn't like. It's like it's really cool and all, but they almost need to like. I don't know. I like the old school one a lot. I like that one. I guess I should play it again. I wouldn't mind that. Like just stream it put like when I'm streaming or something, just stream and play RuneScape. That'd be pretty cool. It's really just use the mouse and talk around. It's really easy to play a game. So it's not like easy to play. It's also challenging, but it's really easy to operate. That's what I'm saying. Easy to operate. There we go. And yeah, it's isometric and stuff, and it's kind of cool. But it's cool how they found that 2007 server. That was pretty cool. It's almost like Karma. It was pretty awesome. Yeah, so Baldur's Gate. I don't know. I'm just talking, rambling on here. I don't know. This isn't supposed to be like a to the point video. It's just me talking about Baldur's Gate. This guy is pretty cool. Swit. I think he's from Poland. He's basically this project here really drives me. It really bugs me. I got to make this Baldur's Gate expansion, Path of the Lost Odyssey, because I just have to. Some people got to be carpenters. Some people got to be race car drivers. Some people got to be astronauts. Some people got to swim. Some people got to climb mountains. I got to make video games. It's just everything I think about, scheme, dream, plan about. It's always video games. I'm either looking up tanks, looking up armor, looking up Scalagrim. Yeah, that's like a Scalagrim. So, YouTube. Oh, Yu-Gi-Oh! Maniac, that was, what's his name? Oh, is it, he's like a tank guy, I looked up a little while ago. It was, yeah, so, it's a bit off topic here, look at all these nerd stuff. This guy, I like this guy a lot, Scalagrim. He's pretty good. He messed up, he's a Canadian like myself, and like the Beamdog people. Not that I'm all, like, nationalist, whatever, how that works, but he's pretty good. He busted up his leg and stuff, but he likes swords and stuff, and he likes thinking about swords and going around. See, as he's up with swords and stuff, and like doing martial arts, I'm with video games, and I like the realism that his world and what he explores and like all the things, for example, like all the ancient manuscripts and like watch these guys fight, guys. Look at this. Like, I don't like it when games aren't realistic, because look at this. One second. You gotta lower that volume. Well, watch these guys. These guys are fighting, just going. I know Baldur's Gate's not like this, but like the world should have this type of fighting in the lore, at least, where like people could like describe battles, how people fought for like 3 hours, and You guys, whatever, right? Just have this in the world somehow. Look at all these big nerds putting all these manuscript drawings in the background. That's pretty cool. Look at this. This is pretty cool. This is Baldur's Gate. Like Faerun's supposed to have this type of fighting with swords, you know? And it's just this is, I like this type of stuff, right? And I'm like, for example, you can watch them fight with swords. Like he has this really cool sword. Like, okay, you know when Baldur's Gate 2 when they started painting weapons? Let's look at this guy. This is pretty cool. So when Baldur's Gate 2 started painting weapons, it kind of lost that 3D like museum piece connection of like real life. It was like subtle fantasy. It just lost the connection. You had these crazy ass swords that just what is it? Okay, let's go to Mike's RPG Center. RPG Center. Let's just go to Mike's RPG. Alright, so yeah, let's go to Baldur's Gate 2, right? So we go to items here, and we go to. I like this website because all these like they're all like laid out. Whoops, items we want weapons. Let's look at their swords here, right? Their bastard swords. Now, look at this. Look at this. It's like painted. It's like okay, let's zoom in here, guys. Let's zoom in. Look at this. It's kind of blurry, but it just doesn't look good, you know. Like this is actually not the best example. Let's see here. Like let's go to Icewind Dale. Icewind Dale kind of did it a little bit better. It was kind of all brown. Everything kind of looked like really depressing. Like up north, wasn't this like isolated kind of somewhat northern community? It was like First Nations. Everything was pretty depressing there. It was like all drugs and stuff and. Could just be my experience, but let's look at the weapons they have here. To me, Icewind Dale is a bit more connected to like what fantasy should be, where it's like not everything's amazing. Let's look at here. All these. Go to their axes. Let's look at this. This is what I remember the most. Let's zoom in here. So you can kind of see it, but see how this is 3D modeled? You can tell the difference. They chose to make everything 3D modeled, like this axe is 3D modeled. Maybe not like the most like historical thing, but at least it looks like it's practical to some degree. Like this looks really practical and it's 3D modeled. That looks like a practical axe. I don't like how it was the formula behind it. I have to say, like. Put like the whole thing on there. It should be like this, and then you pick it up and it's a bit longer handle, and you know. But all in all, it's a lot better. I think I like this. This is a gold. And this is one of my favorite BAMs because it's like took like a 3D model and they made like they have the box art for Dungeons and Dragons stuff, like all those sets. That kind of cool stylized fantasy look to them. Like for example, EverQuest, like all the art. In like early EverQuest, it's like, oh, it's so cool. It's like that, right? But a little bit practical is like kind of like practical, so mix like that cool fantasy element of like wonder and mystery, and like whoa, let's explore with like practicality. It's like oh, it's a golden ratio. It's like the Beatles. It's like the Beatles of fantasy. Now I look at Baldur's Gate 2 and like I know some people are like, wow, I like these cool things, but you're not. You don't give a shit if you're saying that about this. I'll show you. Watch this.
But for that reason, I want to keep
really
it in
loud.
good condition.
Look at this.
Just trade it
He's
for another sword.
He's just talking about it and blah 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 blah. He likes the sword, but look at this. This is a practical sword. This is made from experience, like on the battlefield for like hundreds of years. Like this is practical weapons to kill people, to slay, to take away lives. This was a status symbol. This was something to behold. We had one of these. You know, early on, later on, it's kind of easy to make and whatever. relatively, and it's not so much. But look at this. It's so good. It's all lightweight, practical, balanced, well thought out, well crafted. You could swing it around, and it had feedback, and it was made to do a job, and also it looks beautiful for craftsmanship, and it's practical. It's such a beautiful object, and there's like a Darth Vader, how he's cool because he kills people and stuff. He's like this really powerful badass thing, right? But there's also like a beauty in it in the sense where it's like extremely dark versus extreme white. It's like snow, like wintertime kills things and stuff, but it's so pure and nice and like not like a big swath pool of um, like what's that big city, big garbage dump outside of that Egyptian place? There's a city big in Cairo, I think. Outside of Cairo, this big garbage dump city. It looks bad, but like snow, wintertime, so nice and like pure. And look at this thing. It's just a thing of beauty. It's not like the most ornate thing, but look at it. It's all polished up and all. It's actually sizable weight. It's not like, it's almost like there's like a subtle, almost subconscious appeal to it. It's just like, it's not like this big gangly ass thing. It's just a nice, elegant. Look at it. He can swing it around really good and. Look at this detail and texture. It's practical. It feels like it could, it'd be right at home in like a fantasy setting. You could go kill stuff with it. It just look at all those little neat details that actually work when you ask a question for the sword. Like, why is this like that? And it's like, okay, so so it's not so heavy. You can block swords. You can also whack. You can hold it by the blade even and whack people in the helmet and. Like this thing is to make a counterweight. These all have reasons. They all work. Everything of this weapon works. It's really practical. And then you go to this, and it's like what the It's like look at this handle. This is so stupidly designed. Like maybe it's for demons. I don't know, but it's also painted. It's lesser quality. It's just. I'll look at some of the other weapons. Like I'll go to I'll just pick one at random here. I can't quite remember. Let's go to axes. We're comparing them to Isomdale. So let's look at it's a painted big blocky ass. It's magical, but it doesn't need to be giant to be magical. Magical shouldn't be a cop out. It should be practical and magical. Like this guy. That's a good example right there. Like look at this. Is painted and and look at this guy. This looks ugly as hell. It looks like this came before that. This. This looks like this. It was like an after product of this. This looks like shit. It really does. And like, it's like all messed up. And there's some really unpractical ones. Let's go to longswords. They seem to be really, really common. There's tons of swords in this game. Like that's cool because like it's somewhat practical, but it's like a demon thing in its lore. It's not supposed to, This thing's like a. But honest to God. Like that handle is just fucked. Like the drow stuff is just ridiculously unpractical. Some of it, like it has like all these stupid ass things that just get in the way, and look at this chunky ass thing. It's like god damn, and it's just like look, this thing looks like crap. Maybe it's like flat, I don't know, but it just doesn't. It just looks like they just didn't have enough time or just didn't care enough. Let's look at the two-handed swords. Like. I don't like how it's painted. I like the older one. This is kind of neat, which is like 3D. I like what they did here. It made it look kind of dark, but it's kind of like painted and stuff, and like this. I like this sword just so aesthetic, but like, there's just some swords are just like, how the hell can you hold that guy? Seriously, what the hell? It doesn't make any sense. It really does. Like, why the hell is this guy like forward like that? Why isn't he like everyone else? It's like when you're looking like a military document. Oh, you guys don't know that. Most of you don't, but everything's in order, so it's. It looks like it's like, it's well documented and stuff, and everything's like that. But no, you gotta be a special snowflake, and it just feels like looking like a brony post, Like, I know I can be guilty, like, making, like, the rainbows and stuff, but it just doesn't, it just feels forced. Like, what the hell? What the WTF? Look at that sword. It's supposed to be magical. It's supposed to be magical. That's what a practical +5 sword looks like. Look at this. This is all about agility, it's about timing, it's about practicality. You don't want any extra weight on there. You want all the function, all the movement on your hands there. Look, you have two hands, you have to have a whole wide array. See those movements they're doing here? Look at that. They're just trying to kill each other. Well, pretend kill each other. That's the idea. You know? You don't want all this extra stuff. You don't want to be handicapped. You don't want to have your hands held back by your weapon, because someone's going to learn to exploit that. You can't turn your sword all the way to the left or all the way to the right because your handguard's in the way. Boom! They're gonna attack you. They're gonna fend you on that side, and you're gonna die. You're gonna lose the fight. It doesn't matter if you're a +5 magical sword or not. It just doesn't make any sense. It's not practical. These swords weren't designed with big clunky ass, stupid ass things on their handle to make them look extra fancy. It just didn't work out. This thing was just not designed by someone who had like 15 years of sword fighting under their belt. It's like, okay, let's just make a big fantasy sword. It's just stupid. It's just, I don't like it. It's not practical. It severs the ties of this cool, elegant, beautiful, just part of our human history, you know, that's also deadly and fierce and mysterious, and it's like a beautiful dance, but it's death and all, you know, it's cool extremes. It's like, you know, it just loses it. It loses that extra level of depth because it has this, you know, nothing against anime here, but you know how they have the huge stupid ass swords and like things that just don't work and they're really impractical because people who drew them are like, you know, like a bunch of office people and don't really understand how actual martial arts work. Somewhat. Some people do take martial arts, but I don't get why they draw stupid ass thing. I don't get it. It ruins the immersion for me, but maybe they're not looking for immersion, but with some of the Final Fantasy stuff, oh god. I don't mean like rag on here, but it's just, that's one example why I don't like Baldur's Gate 2. It feels like a downgrade in so many, not so many, but some areas. Let's look at the maps here. Like, oh, let's go to the walkthrough here, right? Let's go to the walkthrough. Now, look at this. Now we go to. I'm just doing this right off my heart. I don't know. It's not planned out. I'm just gonna go with Baldur's Gate and go through the walkthrough of this. Okay, we're gonna look at this. Okay, so which one was it? I can't. I'm not very good at doing this type of stuff, but see, so you're stuck in a dungeon to start the game. You have to go through this maze. You're forced to go through this maze and pick up these really doesn't feel like earned magical weapons. Candlekeep, you can get this magical weapon through like having really good charisma, which is almost like a nod because no one puts lots of charisma on their character. Through the guard, like that +1 dagger. I thought that was really cool. You can pickpocket him, just say screw you, game mechanics, I'm gonna have it anyway. You could do that. This game, you're forced to lose all of your weapons in Enhanced Edition, which I didn't like it from period over. I liked it. That was one of my favorite parts of the game. You could say screw you, game. Screw you, Arenicus, and just have all your weapons. Your crossbow of accuracy. +4, I think it was. +5, +4, I think. You keep all your weapons from Baldur's Gate 1 because you do a little glitch, whatever. I know it's not like canon, but I liked it a lot. I don't like how they removed it. That was kind of dumb. I didn't like it. It was like, you know, and also you could actually keep all the NPCs from like Tillsword Coast. Like you keep all of them. I didn't like how they removed that either. That was kind of stupid ass. I like doing that little glitch. You could keep all the NPCs. That was cool. I like doing these like neat little extra things. You can make your game much more cool that way. You know, go outside. It's like busting out the Matrix. This is cool. You know, that's why the Matrix is cool because, one reason, because it's like, whoa, you're going outside. You know, it's like that mystery and exploration. You know, and going against the, you know, it's like secrets. So the definition of secrets is so good. You know, like a hidden truth. And it's like, whoa, like, oh, let's cut that shit out of the game because we don't like it. That's stupid. Oh, that's just dumb. Or we could patch back in. Why should I have to patch back in? It should be in there anyway. Well, it's already there. It's being removed, so it shouldn't be removed. Okay, so then you kind of set like free roam. in the beginning of like after the stupid like linear ass dungeon that no one likes. There's a mod to skip that. In this game, and for Candlekeep, you just go right up to go grind. Like okay, let's get you killed. I mean, whoops, yeah, you can go right out of the dungeon or right out of Candlekeep at your leisure. You have to go through a rat maze every time to go through that. The people like the beginning of I hear of Baldur's Gate 2 a lot, like on the forums at least. A lot, it's kind of open world. You can kind of pick your quests. The NPCs have quests. I don't like it how certain areas are linked to NPCs. So you can't just like, find them on your own, like organically. You have to talk to that. If you don't like a character, like for example that hippie chick portrait, what's her name? She's the rich hippie chick who doesn't like being a rich person. You go to this castle. It's really cool. That's one of my favorite parts of Baldur's Gate 2. You fight this big castle. I don't know, some mage person. I can't remember her name, but because I only played it like a few. I played this game once. I think killed Irenicus. I think Irenicus. I don't know, but yeah. So and then you go here. I like the Vampire Guild. That's pretty neat, and Shadow of Thieves Guild and stuff. But it's all linear. Like you can't, for example, just go off like pretty much every single like the majority like 80% of this chapters here. You can just go out and just stop it and go out and just do whatever and explore and go to whatever areas you want, right? And just find areas that are not linked through damn quests. There is some like the Cloakwood, but and Baldur's Gate, but everything else maybe like there's some enhanced edition areas, I guess, like with Rashad, so whatever. But yeah, but everything else is like really free. Well, there's a lot more areas that are just you can go on your free pace versus like quest locked. Everything in Baldur's Gate 2 feels like it's quest locked. You have to go. You can't just make your own journey. Like you can't be like in a real world. In life, you can just go out and just do whatever. You're not like okay, you have to do this, this, and this, and this. Maybe it feels like that sometimes, but realistically, freedom, like the only true freedom you have in life is the choices that you make, and you can go wherever, right? You can go wherever, but in Baldur's Gate 1, you could use that illusion. You could do that. You can go a lot of areas, and usually it can get burnt out before you could, it could usually burn you out. And you have to quit and not quit, but save your game, do something else, and then go back to it. You couldn't just explore everything at once and then go back to the story, right? So usually you can go back to these areas, free roam areas, whenever you wanted to. There's always something to do. Like, hell, you go to the expansion pack, Durlake's Tower. You could also go to the Werewolf Island, but the island's an island, whatever. On the continent, like, there was Durlake's Tower. You can go to like level 1 pretty much. You could do it. You could do a bunch of things level 1. You didn't have to level up either. You could just stay there and just do whatever. It felt really, really free and immersive that way. And Baldur's Gate 2 was just like, I don't want to do this generic, it's not generic, but just linear. I don't like being linear. I'm a very independent-minded person. I don't like being fed adventure. I want to journey and fight and explore and go against the grain, do what I want for my adventures, not what the game wants, but what I want, to go explore around and then come back to the chapter or whatever, or go back to the story if I want to, but you're kind of stuck in the story. There's only like a few parts in Baldur's Gate 1, like under 20% I think, where you get stuck in the story, like Werewolf Island, as was expansion pack, and when you're in the catacombs, you're only like stuck in there. Everything else, like the Friendly Arm Inn, you could get out of there when you want. You could get out of National Mines. You could bandits, Cloakwood. Is gated behind plot, okay, but you had all these other forces you could explore. Lots of stuff. Baldur's Gate gated behind plots, but still you had a whole bunch of wilderness you could explore. Then you eventually get into it, and you go to Candlekeep. That's kind of return to Candlekeep. Not much, gated behind, content and also the final. These are, but that kind of rewards me with the story. Like, progress, we could go wherever in the wilderness. There's a big wilderness to explore. Then you go back to whatever. I feel like it was varied and diversified versus like, oh, like use your little bit of freedom, which is tied to NPCs, which if you don't like you, screw you, right? So, but you can just join them and yeah, I like NPCs who have their own needy thing, like Rashad, whatever, right? The monk dude who sucks. He'll always get one. He's okay, but not all of the like don't have all of the areas like in the beginning of the game exclusive to characters. Make it have some free roam. There's the city. Yeah, it's a freaking city. It's a freaking city, you know. It's a freaking. Why don't we go outside the city? Why don't we go out and go to the villages? Why don't we go out to that big map? There's a huge Faerun map. You don't have to be stuck in the city. Why don't we go out in the city and practice our magic? Why don't we go out there and kill some people? Why don't we go on an adventure? Oh, we have to get stuck to a stupid ass goddamn NPCs to do that. Why don't we just solo the game? No, you can't because you gotta go help these people out. I don't want these NPCs. I'm alone. No, you can't. You're stuck to this. You're stuck. You're forcing your goddamn adventures, man. This turkeys, This bad formula. Okay, I don't like it. Don't like it. Shittier goddamn item. This didn't give a shit. So some of the item stuff from some of the items were drawn like a big huge part of Baldur's Gate besides the story and the places you go and what you do. This is the items you get. Oh man, the items are so amazing. So many of them. They're the loot. They're the things you get. Magical adventure journeys, And their upgrades is, oh man, I found some, and it just felt, make your games, oh man, it was like, oh, big rewards. Loot, if everyone says, oh, it's not about the loot, they usually suck at the game. That's how it works. To say, because not many people who are like the best top of the game, like really good at MMOs, FPS shooters, whatever, right? They're not like, oh, items don't matter. Like it's all about the story. Unless like you're a World of Warcraft raider, and you get so beat up from having best in slot weapons that take like months to get, and then get taken away by greens. Like items that just aren't very powerful, and you get so like jaded from that cycle of development that you just say screw it because you don't want to be hurt anymore. That's the wrong type of thing to do in a game. But for like a one-time adventure game, like where that doesn't happen, where it's just a single-player game, it's just items are a big part. It's like they're huge. Could you imagine what Baldur's Gate would be like if you only have the sword, the armor, the medium armor, the light armor, the main weapon, and you get upgrades for them? It just feels shallow. It just feels shallow. It'd just be like an open story book. It'd just suck. It would just suck. It just wouldn't. No. It would suck. It would be like a 7 out of 10. It just would. People say, oh, the story's great, but what happened with the items? Diablo did way better. People would say that, Baldur's Gate items are a huge part. And then you go to Baldur's Gate 2 and like you, I don't know, click on, like for their credit, they did a lot more items, but they reduced their quality. Like for example, one thing I do like is that they drew them like hand draw like little depictions on there that still the artist. I like that, but they didn't 3D model stuff. Like they added some extra weapons and stuff, but they didn't 3D model it. It's like really kind of. Anyway, let's go back to the mods here. Yeah, I really want to finish this off sometime because I did half of them and the split whatever had to patch it back all together again. So finish it up because I just felt these are a lot of the community made people that really added some extra layer to the game. I wanted them balanced. I wanted them realistic, like practical. Like, you know, Game of Thrones is cool because it has practicality mixed in, and the author, uh, J. J.R. Martin, yeah, he's like, he goes for practicality and reason in his things, like not like, oh, let's go slay the dragon because I'm on an adventure and I'm a shitty writer. No, it doesn't work like that. He goes, I'm a great writer. He didn't say that, but he's like, his work speaks for him. It says, my people are going to go after practical things. They're going to go after sex. They're going to have to go after money, greed, power, basically what we do, but in a different time and a different planet. And he makes these like magic mysterious, hard to get, rare. You know, it's a very cynical world he makes, right? And it's has so much depth to it, so much weight behind it because it has that synergy, that resonance of real life that everyone can experience and relate to. That if you have a fantasy like a bunch of elves danced around and slaying dragons willy nilly, it just people can't relate to that. People don't see their struggle. People don't see these people evolve. People don't attach themselves to characters. You know, you gotta have weight. You gotta have resonance. You gotta have reason. You gotta have logic. You gotta have blood, sweat, and tears. What humanity is based on. Because that's what we relate to. We're human beings. We gotta relate to human beings and what we've been through and how we evolve and how we shape our society and how it has been shaped. You know, medieval times are a lot different from now. For example, this guy's armor, like on this portrait there, this is based off of reason, practicality, because it wants to protect people and also look like swag, right? That's the idea of swag, but I don't like talking like that. But just goddamn culture. But you know, it's just such a thing of beauty. This is like a nice, practical, ornate piece of armor that this artist has chosen to put on the character portrait. The sword looks practical too. It looks like this guy could actually practically do his job of a dragon fighter or whatever, right? He probably doesn't see dragons all the time. No, but for those brief times he does see them, you know, he kills them, or he tries to, or his whole mission is to kill dragons. Doesn't mean he kills them all the time, no. But he wants to be a dragon slayer, right? As like say Darth Vader doesn't always do Star Wars battles or lightsaber battles, but he's a lightsaber wielding person. He's like a Sith Knight or whatever, not Sith Knight, but he's like a Sith Lord. He's a, you know, usually what makes characters are very brief, heavy, weighted moments of reality that define you. There's a path you can take. It's either you stay your old character, or you can evolve and change and become something new. Usually, sometimes you have to. That's the only path to survival people can see. It makes their characters evolve, and it's so good. Like Star Wars, right? Imagine if like Luke Skywalker was, no, I'm gonna be a farmer. He'd be dead, you know. So, you know, or you know, that's so. There's certain elements to make a really good story, you know. I gotta stop saying that, but yeah. So there's some community content which I think would add to the game that is Baldur's Gate, but they gotta be balanced. When it came to these characters, they were the Mary Sues. They're overbound. They looked like the people who made them didn't really understand what made a really good, immersive, relatable, full person that you could basically relate with, who felt organic to the environment, who wasn't like a super god in the shell of of a person who was walking around pretending to be average, you know? There it is again. So I went down, okay, what makes these guys stand out? What are special about them? Because remember that 80-20 thing I said earlier? What makes you special isn't all of your features usually. It's only like these little extremes that stand out. Like he maybe only slayed like a little baby dragon, but he's a dragon slayer. He wants to go fight big dragons. He's a dragon slayer. He doesn't go kill dragons every day, every second. He doesn't go up and kill 15 dragons and go back to bed and then kill 15 more. You know, it doesn't work like that. You know, he's not jacked. He's not ripped. He's average. You know, he takes his shit in the morning and usually, unless he's constipated, he has problems because of a big rash on his ass or something. He doesn't talk about it. He has his fears. He has all this stuff. All this stuff he's got to deal with. He got armor chafe. He smells like shit when he goes on big journeys, unless he has some magical potions or some shit that he can pick up at some store in RP super hardcore. You know, he's really average. He's at his base. He's mostly average. But he's got some little aspects of him that stand out, that people will remember about his character. I will go and be like, this guy, I remember these prominent points. Because we don't remember the average things. We just don't. We don't have time for it. Remember the things that stand out. This guy's a fantasy warrior. He wants to fight dragons. He's a paladin. He's a bit uncouth sometimes. He has a backstory. You'll remember that he was average. He wasn't super dexterous. You don't remember these forgettable things like his crappy armor or stuff like that when he begins, or how he had crap stats, or you know, he wasn't perfect character. He had some flaws. You don't remember the flaws unless they add to the character and they're really unique and they're like, whoa, you don't find, unless they're extreme flaws, you don't remember them. You remember the extreme things. So what I'm saying is that this, you know, when you have average characters, you make these have like little special subtle things, you know, that as a whole you can love them because for who the character is, stands out in the world. Like, you don't have to stand out a little bit. For example, the Olympics, right? The people who get first, second, and third, they only stand out by a little fraction of a margin. Yet it makes the world difference. You can be 3 seconds behind in a race, and that's the difference of you being forgotten versus you being remembered for the rest of your life. As the guy who won the gold medal at the insert date Olympics here. So there's so small margin, guys. There's so small margins, you know? You don't need to be like Thor combined with Legolas, combined with the Hulk, combined with Gandalf, combined with Gandhi, combined with Dave Chappelle. You know? You don't have to be that to be special. You don't have to be that to stand out, to be remembered, to be loved. You just have to have unique character, focus on the character, who he is, build that character up, tell his plight, how his views or her views, or what she's up to, what she's experienced, why her views are a certain way, you know, what built this person up to believe these things. There's certain innate attributes of people, like their character, you can't really change unless it's their character, how they grew up. There's also things that, it's like nurture and nature, or nature versus nurture. It's kind of like that. There's like there's two things like fighting each other, like the eternal struggle, as the earth spins and there is night and there is day. There's not one nor the other absolute. There are two sharing the same space, but in the different space at the exact same time. It is a paradox, yet a perfect balance. That is poetic, beautiful, simple, brutal, and at the end of the day, even mysterious. Even though we look at it every single day, and for at the dawn of humanity, we've had it, yet it still holds secrets. That is the depth. That is nature and nurture to the same degree of mystery, practicality, and just immersion, just in depth, and it's everywhere. You find it everywhere, but most people can't really put a nail to it, can't really. You ask them what is character, they kind of don't know. They don't, like, okay, people are, you know, what they're kind of born like that, what their parenting was, what they've experienced, and they go all these things. So they always have to stuck in their mind, and they've experienced it, but they don't really know what the core is. They don't really delve into what really makes a person, what really makes them tick, what makes them cry, what are they thinking about, you know, why don't they do this, what are these secret things, what are their stupid things, what are their good things. You know, why do people do these? Why do people act? Why? No one asks the question why enough. Why are you on Twitter, guys? Why are you on Facebook? Why do you feel that you're not pretty? Why do you feel that you need to have muscles to be loved? Why do you feel that you have to have money to feel like you're progressing? Why do you have to feel that to be, that having no money is bad? Why do you have to feel that, when the day is bright, that it's not as good as living at night? You know, you gotta ask questions why? Why was this? Why was that? The cause. When you know the cause of things, when you know the cause and how they came to be, you can replicate them and you can identify them. And if you don't know what the problems are, you don't know what the solution is. And if you don't know what the solution is, your power. That's not power. Power is the ability, I think, to put your imagination, your thoughts to reality. Now, if you don't know what makes certain things, the causes of them, you are unable to willfully change the world the way you see fit in certain aspects. So if you don't understand something, the world will work against you because you won't understand the gears. You won't know what to manipulate, what to look for, what to look out for. You will be blind. You will be walking in a room that is pitch black with your arms stretched in the distance, and you will not know if it's infinity outstretched, a ledge, a cliff, a beast, or loneliness. You will not know. The only thing you will know is that you do not know. And we gotta ask the question why. Why is he doing this? Why is he staring at this camera or this portrait? Why does he have that sword? Why does he have this armor? Why does he want to wear this armor? Why is he not quitting? Why is he not a farmer? Also, to ask why something is, we should also ask why something is not, because there's two sides of it. As night, there is day. As there is death, there is, life. But there's a middle ground that's always right now looking at you. The combination that is the past and the future meeting. This mysterious thing that you can understand the past, you can kind of predict the future. But as it is right now, it's this big mash and mixed up, and you're just like, whoa, what's happening? It's so amazing, so much. It just overloads your sensory, and then you try to grasp what happened. That is your memory. And you try to predict to not be hurt, to not be scared, to have a better future, and that is you're trying in the present to have a better future. But right now, right here, what's happening? Why is this? What has culminated to make this person have this sword, to be this age, to be this human, to have this armor, to be in this background? Why is he? Why is he in the sun? Why is he not in the darkness? Why is he looking at this? You can overanalyze. You can say that's trivial, but if you keep on going, keep on asking, keep on thinking, keep on going, and just go nuts, go insane. Just don't care what people think. Just keep on asking these questions. And one day, maybe you'll feel comfortable with making an opinion, making just seeing things around you. And for example, what this has done for me is just to realize what makes a character, like, wow, what I like about characters, right? And I looked at this and I was like, I changed his stats to kind of reflect that, right? He doesn't need to be amazingly intelligent to be his character. He doesn't need to be super wise to be his character. He's kind of charismatic, and you kind of stand out about that. He's a bit of a charismatic person. He's not no super loan shark comedian like Dave Chappelle. No, he's been journeying around. He's been walking around the Sword Coast. He's been trying to fight. He's tough. He's not quitting. He's got willpower. He's got strength. He's got stamina. He can wear plate mail armor, 15 Constitution. He's no Hulk. He's no bodybuilder. But he's the paladin. He's he's got a good magnetism to him. He's got he can take a blow. He can take a punch. But he won't say that he has weaknesses. But at the end of the day, this is what he kind of holds up to, right? He doesn't need to be super dexterous with the sword. He's just good enough. This is proficient. This is good. This is not mastery or what's it called? Like gifted. He doesn't have to be gifted to hit the sword, but he is strong. he can, he carries himself with his strength. He carries himself with his, his bit of a conviction. He doesn't want to quit. He got this good attitude. People like him. He can attract follower. He can negotiate pretty well. He can, he's got ties. He's like this rich person, whatever, who can negotiate really well. He chose to go out and strike it out on his own to be a dragon slayer. You know, or you know, to kill dragons. So you don't need amazing stats to make an amazing character. All you need is a story and a way for people to discover who this character is, and for them to decide if they like him or not. And to make him full, to make him practical, to make him feel, or her feel, alive and breathing, and they give depth to the world, that they're that special 20% of the people who take the world and they want to do what they see with it, or you want to be around them, or you just want to adventure with them, or you don't, or just have them be themselves as full as you can. They don't have to be strong, they don't have to be strong-willed, they just have to be themselves. Everyone's unique, everyone's fleshed out, everyone has their own will and stuff, but to be an adventurer is a special thing in the world. Most people aren't like that. You read all the stuff, and to be an adventurer, it's a rare thing. Most people are farmers, most people are business people, most people settle down, they don't want to take the risks, they don't want to risk their life every single day, usually. They're up for that adventure, but this guy, he's up for it. He could have had wealth. Well, he kind of can't, because he's like the last born son of his, in a big rich family or whatever, right? So he's got to strike it out, he's got to make his own fortune. But, it's like, this is a special person because he wants to go out there and fight for a life. Fight for a life adventure. Maybe he has a calling inside of him. As some people have to be painters, as some people have to be surfboarders, as some people have to be good at business, some people have to take care of kids, some people love kids, some people got to teach, some people got to climb mountains, some people got to drive cars really fast, some people got to make stuff. He's got to go out and fight and use that sword because in his heart, it just feels right. And when he does something else, it's drawn back to him. The memories of his armor clinking, of his, walking around with his sword on his back, hitting him, he's walking around as he's gripping it, and as he feels fear, and he has his heart pumping so hard, he feels his armor's gonna bust in two, He kills that guy, and he feels that rush of adrenaline, and that rush of energy, and that's the best thing he could ever feel in his life. And that's what his heart's saying. And when you get these type of people, when you get them subtly to say this to you in ways that you can take 1,000 people and they would all give you a different answer, or to a relative simple rendition of the picture you wanted to paint, that's a good success. When you have like really bleak characters, for example, the first episode of Star Wars, like, you don't really remember some of the characters. All they focused on was the cosmetics, not their internal issues, what their heart was like, their heart of hearts. You didn't quite see that bleeding through the screen. All you saw was the makeup falling off their face and what they wore, and all these things that you forget that are only good for a small, punchy, shallow value that you don't really live to. You don't fall in love with someone because they had a nice dress that one night. You don't have the deepest relationship with a dog because it's fluffy. You like the dog because it's maybe you saved your life, or you saved his life, whatever, or her life, whatever, right? You've been through things, you experienced life, so they shaped you. You can relate on such deep levels with people who you really want to be around. Like, he wants to kill dragons and be an adventurer. You want to play this game to be an adventurer, to do stuff, to go to be on this world, to celebrate it and to explore. He wants to do the same thing, and you're on the same page. It's not a lot better than just having a Mary Sue character. It's always perfect. No flaws. Perfect items. No difficulty. never seen a hardship in his life, never had to cry, never had to feel failure, never had to sit down and reevaluate and say, hey, I need to improve, or just didn't make any sense at all when you're in a world where if you're this god amongst humans or mortals of physicality, great at everything, why aren't you recognized? Why are you an adventurer still being around here? Why are you not, you have all these things, why isn't your lore supporting your character? I see this person with all these amazing stats, with like 18s pretty much in everything, and yet their character seems like this, when I read their character, I see their plight, what they're doing, what they want, and where they are in their life, and what they thought was a good idea. I don't see these stats reflected, but maybe, you know, maybe it's not so much the stats of the character that are the question, but rather the people who made them didn't understand what the stats really mean, what it means to have 18 charisma, what it means to have 18 wisdom, what it means to have 9 intellect, 10 intellect, what these things mean, because they don't ask the questions why enough. Why does a character feel a certain way, or why does a person act a certain way? You know, what is a person, right? And also I like having like 3D items and having like their own unique thing, right? It's like a subtle, it's not like a super over the top item. It's just, it looks practical. It's unique. I actually put 2 items together there. That's kind of neat because this one's dark and it goes with like looks kind of magical. It's like subtle. It looks like it's not mundane. It looks like it's had a little extra bit of love and craftsmanship put into it. This one here. Or this one here, actually, this one seems like kind of bland. Not bland, but it seems like kind of interesting too at the same time. And this will be a unique item. No item will be like this. It'll just be this, and it'll be like his own field plate armor between plate mail and field plate. It feels a little bit special, like he got it crafted. There's a story behind it. Like everything else, sometimes people have this unique thing they have on them that you can identify with. Oh yeah, there's this little slight variation to all this sea of common mediocrity, but a slight variation, right? I remember of that. A slight, subtle difference. I remember. It made all the difference. I remember. And this is like, oh, this is a magical version. You put extra stuff on there, right? And I really cared about this. I went to every pixel and measured it out. I looked at it. I zoomed in. My screen was like, it was like a huge armor, and I like pulled my head back so it actually looked like it was like what it looked like when I zoom out and stuff. And I went back and forth and I edited it, and I had this huge page of just like all these versions and prototypes I had, just plucking away at it. I'm not trying to brag here. I'm just it was kind of a lot of simple steps. There wasn't nothing super complex about it. It's just the complexity of this was just doing a bunch of simple steps, all in order, all at the same time, and all combined. And that kind of makes the mystery of it, I guess, for some people, but including myself. But I really put my time into it, and I really wanted to make a good armor. I wanted it just I needed to make a good piece of armor. I really did. I want all the stats to be good. I want all these stuff to look nice. I was looking at the world of tanks, and like so what they base their tanks off of, a history and stuff, like the military, where they need efficiency in communication, where they need everything planned out and everything, no spelling mistakes usually, and make it looks like it's ordered, unified. And there's a certain magical beauty in there in that in how they operate that I really like. Everything's like lined out. It looks professional. It looks like it's really elegant, really well crafted. It looks like it's like a form of craft in itself, right? This, and when you can say, yeah, I'm not very good at this, so you kind of don't give a shit, right? But when you do give a shit, it's like that extra level. It's like when everything is really well made, it has an extra like that. Wow, you just feel it deep down, I just ran out of steam halfway through this. I just didn't have the energy. I was honest with myself. I didn't force myself to do this. I love to do it, but I just couldn't do it all at once. I got this feeling slowly growing deep down in the pit of my being that's rising slowly, and I'll be back here again. I'll finish these guys off when I just think it's the most amazing thing, and I gotta plan, scheme, and do it. But I'm just being myself here, right? I gotta do it. And yeah, so this is the video of me just talking about Baldur's Gate. I hope you enjoyed it. It wasn't the most amazing video. I'm not the greatest at video editing. I'm not the greatest at all these things, but I'm willing to fail. I'm willing to go out there and try, and to learn to make a body of experience, which I can, slowly improve upon when I try to do something in the future. I don't. I just want to do this. I just want to do it. I have this desire to make videos and talk about this stuff and see what you guys say, I guess. Yeah, or just yeah. I like it how if you actually are listening to this, the very end of it, you actually like listen. Just some person just didn't have the time or just wasn't patient. Just like myself, I like listening to these videos like on top of Baldur's Gate stuff, right? This type of video. I'm doing it because I like making these videos, not because I'm paid for it, not because I'm doing it, because I like to do it. And yeah, so I have a, I'm not, people say I'm like arrogant, people say I'm this, I'm that, but honestly, like, I don't want to be arrogant. I don't want to think I'm better. I don't want to say, I want things to be high quality, and I hold myself to like high standards in certain areas, which I really love, which my heart says are amazing. Like, for example, Baldur's Gate. When I say to people, oh, you should improve this or that, or this sucks, or you're not doing a good job, people, oh, I'm hurt. I don't mean to hurt people, I really don't. I don't want to say something is, like good when it's not. For example, like this guy's face scar, like it's gonna, or it's like what that's so stupid. It's like whatever. But, like it's like you know, like again, this is all the subtle things. Like this armor is amazing. This is such good, so many good things about this. I like the forest. Wow, this is my favorite one. So this just needs a bit more polish. That's all. You know, people are really sensitive. You can't be like ragging on them because they'll just end up crying. You can make people cry or feel bad about themselves, even though they hide it, whatever. People are really really sensitive. They really are, especially on the forums here. Like, to be on the forums, you usually have to be a social person or you want to find something out. But if you're on here a lot, like, what was it, this Ben Goshi guy? What's that? The big super nerd. I don't mean that in a derogatory term. Like, nerds are actually kind of a... I'm a big nerd, so I shouldn't be, like, saying, like, nerds are bad when I'm, like, one of the biggest nerds here, so... Um, yeah, it's like, people are really, really sensitive, so you can't just rag on them all the time. Even like the big tough men who like lift weights and stuff, they're really really sensitive. A lot of them like people like there's a misconception like that men are like, oh yeah, he's tough and all, right, but this dwarf is like super sensitive, but character wise, like men and women like are I think equally sensitive, but they have different ways of expressing it and different things that they're a little bit more like they have, like, for example, I think women have a bit more areas of of feel than men, but there's a misconception that like more, like, say for example, say you had like more fingers on your hand, you could feel more things, but it doesn't make you any more sensitive, right? It makes you have more field to feel things, or you have a greater surface area. But for example, like with men, right, it's like they gotta it's like a lot of people like they don't want to hide or they don't want to show their emotions because like they got to be strong. Like kind of like stereotypical role of the man is just to be like strong, provide things, and go out in the world and shape some type of positive effect for it, so you can take it home like to the family and here's food, here's power, here's this, here's that, here's resources. You got to go out there and face hardship, right? And to face hardship, you got to be like strong. So you can't. Crying is like, oh, you're broken. You couldn't face hardship, right? And like usually men, like more so than women, like kind of like more so fight against you, like they compete, right? They compete. They can more so compete in like for like physical things. Like women, they can compete over people, yes, and they can be really dirty. You have to say that, but that's kind of like being like subtle, right? Women are sometimes a little bit more subtle than men. But sometimes men are really they're subtle in a lot of ways too. Like there's that whole thing of like how men don't speak to each other, but like they get like a lot of understanding across without saying things. Like that sometimes women in general, these are all inclinations, right? This isn't like a set standard like you have to do this. I'm just saying like gender wise how they're kind of specialized. Like for example, you know, there's a difference of male and female, but you're inclined. Like gender is not so much like a either or. It's more of like a slider, like that Saints Row 2 whatever, but that Saints Row game. It's like a slider, but usually it's a lot more. It's usually like male female male female. Sometimes you're in the middle. Sometimes, but most it's a rarity though, right? You're male or female. Just going by like people are just just by averages here. What I've experienced. Like men time to team like seem to hold a lot of their emotions in, and like females people are usually like blah 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 and they cry and feel sad, and if you say that they're like a ugly ass bitch and they should die, they're like wow, they take it to heart usually like a lot. It really hurts them. Like you should never ever say it, because it's like the more surface area, right? They don't have the big armor built up like men either. Men have this mental armor, like oh my whatever, right? But if you say their dick's small, if you're a woman and you actually say this man, let's say this is a woman, they want some woman to say the woman says his dick's small, like usually you have to like super upset about that, just absolutely destroyed. Or if the woman starts talking about it behind his back, whatever, like oh I just destroyed, but he doesn't have these avenues to express it. You'd be like oh talk to his friends, oh that bitch over there, and then they'll talk to you all tough and stuff, but they don't have that. You don't like some insane heterosexual averages here, right? Like they won't they don't have that outlet sometimes. They're not like as emotionally like not liberated, but as liberal, I guess. Yeah, emotionally liberal as other women on average. They're a lot more kind of like I'm the keystone, kind of silent power or whatever, right? But I don't think that's so much the case to be a really strong individual. I think to be a strong individual is to able to deal with problems, to deal with the diversity, whatever form it is, and to really nurture the better sides of life. For example, like this whole argument I think of like the balance of power, of positive and negative. It's like I was thinking about this, negative and positive. Which one's the better one? 13 years old, doing like drugs and stuff. But I was thinking about this, and I came to this point where I exist. The world exists. The universe exists. There must have been a time when there's a question or a path in the road to exist or to not to exist, or to be or not to be, right? And the world is here. So that right from the very beginning, there's a slight bias to be positive. I think we're kind of meant to be positive and to create things and to help and to build. We can destroy, but I think we're meant to be positive and stuff, right? So if you're able to, you're not really remembered fondly by what you destroy. You're not a great person if you destroy things all the time. You're infamous, but you're not loved. You're not cherished. People want to be respected, cherished, and loved. What's the point of being the biggest asshole? So, with that said, I think a strong person is someone who, like in life in general, who is able to create what they want in mediums, or just to deal with adversity, right? For example, when he's says some person he like says, "Oh, you have a small dick, right?" And he's like, "Oh," to be able to process that, to have that and just release it or accept it or just move on or just build his character off. That's a stronger person than someone who can just hide it and bottle it up and feel insecure but not say it. That's a weak person. Someone, for example, alcoholics are all weak people. They're like weak people. We try to be all tough and strong, and people who do drugs are weak people. People who can like go against the grain, people who can be their own person, who can resist being someone else when the pressure's on, are strong people. People who are comfortable with who they are and what they want, and they have a strong willpower, to just take on the world and just to not to give in to fears and insecurities and to build them up and but also I think the biggest thing of a strong person is that ability to get up after you've been knocked down, unjustly or justfully. You get up and to learn, to keep on going, to keep on learning, to keep on progressing your character. When you can't keep on progressing your character and you can't get up to fight again, to hold yourself back up, to keep on going. If you can't do that, if you easily break, you're not a strong character. You won't take, uh, you won't find a fulfilled life. Usually, you'll just be forgotten. You'll struggle in silence, struggle in silence, struggle in silence. Never letting anything out, never conquering your fears, being ruled by your emotions, being ruled by your hormones, being ruled by suggestion, never being your own character, never being independent truly, and always wanting it, always wanting things but never having them, always complaining and always being a victim but never changing the problem, always finding problems with things but never giving a solution, always being hurt but never healing.